Hey guys, we are in the floor because I'm about to film a book haul from over here. And I just wanted to go ahead and get this video started because we are starting Jante's Inferno this week. For the next 10 days, we were going to be trying to escape hell. And for my first book, I had to betray my physical TBR. And so I went ahead and went with The Haunting of Hill House because this is one that I actually have from the library. I don't own it physically. And so I am going to start there. I'm halfway through it right now. I'm really enjoying it, but I also wanted to go over my TBR with you guys. I have put off putting out this TBR because I'm a little nervous to have a TBR. I might deviate from it. That's the whole reason that I didn't want to build a TBR currently for Jante's Inferno and why I haven't put one out yet. But I am going to be reading a book with a dark cover for the next prompt, and I have chosen Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert. I think that's how you say the name. I've heard really good things about this author, and so I'm very excited to get into it. I don't know much about it other than it's supposed to be like thriller horror leaning. It says the sole survivor of a serial killer might hold the key to stopping a new spree of murders in this propulsive horror thriller in the vein of The Black Phone and The Whisper Man. So that is my pick. I'm also trying to pick shorter books, so that's why not every book from my TBR is going to make it on, or for my January TBR, my game is going to make it onto this list. And then the next one is a book with violence. As you guys know, I am reading through Reign and Ruin, that whole series, with my patrons, so I am going to add Shield and Storm for that prompt. And then hot pick, I am going to be reading Onyx Storm. As you guys know, I started this, didn't finish it, kind of soft DNF'd it because I wasn't feeling it, but that's going to get me out of hell this time, so let's go ahead and finish the book, actually read the book. Am I excited about this? I don't know yet. And then I had to pick one with a conflict that intrigues me, and I went with the easiest one I could think of, and that's Enemies to Lovers. I always love me a good enemies to lovers, and so I picked Quicksilver. Now, I know very little about this book other than it's probably the most popular romantasy right now, and like I said, with it being a readathon, I was looking for easier books to read than what I have on my TBR, and so I'm throwing this one on there, hoping that it'll be fairly easy for me to get through, and I'll be able to blow through all of these in the 10 days that I have. Any book recently acquired. It is the same book that I chose for my TBR for the same prompt. That would be Lightfall by Ed Crocker. Again, not too long, but it's got vampires, and I'm so excited. So excited. I assume the next phase that we need to get through is gluttony, and that means food or beverage on the cover, so I picked So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. I'm excited for this. Also, I feel like I am channeling Jan here because there's a few vampire books on here. But I'm very excited. Like I said, I've been looking forward to reading this for quite some time. I know Ed actually really likes this book. So very excited. And then for one of my most anticipated reads, I had to pick a 5-star prediction. The Silver Blood Promise was already on my TBR, so I am just going to go ahead and add it to this TBR. Last, the one book that we need to escape hell. I just got the ALC for Victorian Psycho, and I'm very excited for this one. It sounds like it's going to be gothic, eerie, creepy. I'm down. And so that'll be my TBR for this vlog. And like I said, I'm 50% of the way through The Haunting of Hill House. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a hard time though with Luke because every time, it doesn't matter that the narrator doesn't even sound like him, but every time I hear Luke or see Luke on page, I picture Owen Wilson. So that's interesting. For some reason, not doing the whole Catherine Zeta-Jones thing, but definitely Owen Wilson. And so that's interesting. But I'm going to go ahead and film my book haul, and then I will be back to check in with you guys when I finish. am happy to report that we have escaped the first level of hell, betrayal, with The Haunting of Hill House. I feel like I need Jan's hype button. So, The Haunting of Hill House, let's talk about it a little bit. I am an avid horror reader, have been for a really long time. I read a lot of horror growing up. I have watched The Haunting of Hill House, but let me tell you, it was when that movie came out, or The Haunting, I guess. So I didn't remember much of it, except that Owen Wilson played Luke. And so every time Luke spoke in the book or the audiobook, because I had to betray the physical TBR, it like registered as Owen Wilson's voice, even though the narrator sounded nothing like him. And I kept seeing Owen Wilson's face when I thought about Luke. This book was good. I can see why some people don't like it. I also had issues with my ADHD. The scattered thoughts of the book kind of pulled me out of it because my ADHD, like, I don't need help with scattered thoughts. I don't need help going on tangents. My brain does that anyway. And I kind of didn't enjoy those parts as much as I would have liked to. The horror of the book was real. I felt it. The atmosphere was good. And I saw the ending coming a mile away because I've read a lot of horror and things about oppression. And so, yeah, I know a lot of people get emotional at that ending, but I saw the writing on the wall, so to speak. But like I said, overall, I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it 4 stars. And if I'm being honest, it's kind of a 3.5, 3.75, but I don't feel bad bumping it up because I know part of it was me. Part of it was my brain. And I was shipping Theo and Nell like most of the book. And then I realized that a lot of things that were going on were probably happening in our main character's head, and what was real, what was not. Nell was a very unreliable narrator, like, to say the least. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So let's move on to book 2, and that would be Sleep Tight. I had to pick a book with a dark cover. I'm not exactly sure what level of hell this corresponds to because I don't have that sitting in front of me, and Jan explains it really well, and I will definitely be tagging her down below, and I will link her video as I did with my TBR video. But I have been very interested in this author. Like I said before, there's a couple of people that I follow who have read him a few times and have really enjoyed him. I know he has a series, and a lot of people really like the series. And this is like thriller horror combined. And again, this is about a girl who escapes a serial killer, and she may hold the key to what is going on elsewhere. Someone has gone on a murder spree again, and she might be key in solving it. So that's all I know about this, but I'm very excited to get into it. I'm very excited to read it, and it is 10:30, so I don't know how far I will get into this tonight, but I will probably check in with you guys tomorrow. Okay, so excuse the look today. We are going to clean my mother-in-law's house out, and so I'm a little grubby. However, I am a little over halfway finished with Sleep Tight, and I am loving it. So I watch Castle religiously, and I have a tendency to watch things like The Rookie. Yes, we love Nathan Fillion in this house. Bones, things like that. So police procedurals, I have a tendency to like, so long as they're not too detective-y, I guess I could say. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. But I like the ones that have more story to them than just the police procedural. I guess that's what it is. But Sleep Tight is so good. I'm leaning towards a 5-star, but that is purely based on enjoyment. So it might be a 4.5. I don't know. I haven't done the compile rating just yet. But I'm very, very happy with this book. I'm very happy that I decided to go ahead and throw it on the TBR. It's one that I really wanted to get to this year, and doing this readathon gave me a perfect excuse. I am very interested in seeing what other books Mark Hart has written because yeah. This is a writing style that I'm like really enjoying, and I can see myself being a fan of their works. And I did find out
that he also writes historical fiction, so I might be interested in that as well. Not really sure. I am interested in the horror, though. Definitely interested in that. And it seems like we are going to be escaping level 2 of hell very soon. Very, very soon. But I will let you know how I feel when I get back and finish the book.
Hello! We have escaped the second level of hell. I have finished Sleep Tight. I adored this book. I love the writing. I love the twists and turns. I liked our main character. I liked the way this story wrapped up and had such a satisfying ending. It was creepy. It was edge of your seat. It was everything I wanted it to be. And I'm so glad I got it onto the TBR. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. I did give this 4.5 stars, and I'm not sure where in the book I kind of started to lose a little bit of the thrill, but I did. And this is more thrilling than it is horror, and I did like that. So I think I was expecting a little bit more horror, and I was kind of losing my love of the police procedural in parts of this, but other than that, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Writing's good, characters are good, and this has a well-rounded cast of characters as well as a well-rounded cast of villains. And so I did like who the villain ended up being in this, and I do like where our main character found connection with this story. It was really cool. It was really well done. Probably a top 10 thriller for me. I don't know where it would rank on horror, but definitely loved it. Now, here's where I have to say, I'm sorry. I knew this was gonna happen. I did not want to build a TBR at the beginning of this video, but you know, I did want to set some expectations for what you guys would see, and here we are, trying to escape the next level of hell with a book with violence and a romantasy, and I am just not in the mood. Also, it's Sunday, so I have a little bit of catching up to do, and a thick romantasy just wasn't in the cards for me, and I just needed something that I felt would get me to the next step quickly, but also that would intrigue me and wasn't romantasy, because I'm just not in the mood for it right now. So I picked up Your Mind is a Terrible Thing by Hailey Piper. This is a sci-fi horror. Now, it is short, but Jan herself favors the shorty patorty, as she likes to say, and she likes short horror as well. I do think horror is sometimes best done in a compact story, so I'm very excited to see what Hailey Piper does here. And Hailey Piper is a pretty popular horror author, like a short novella horror author, so I'm very excited for this. And I know it's like about a parasite that crawls aboard a ship and takes over people's bodies. Like that's the only thing that I know. And I will probably just check in with you guys whenever I finish this, because it's not going to take me very long. I might even annotate it. I don't know. It is Super Bowl Sunday. We are football watchers, and my husband really likes when I put a snack spread together for like the whole day, so he can just sit and munch all day instead of cooking dinner or doing something elaborate. So I will see you guys when I get further into Your Mind is a Terrible Thing. All right, everybody, we have escaped the third level of hell with Your Mind is a Terrible Thing. And let me tell you guys, it's Monday. I am so far behind. Can I do this by the 16th? We shall see. I don't know if I liked this book or not. There were some things that kind of took me out of the story. The horror is actually really good, but there were a couple of things that my brain didn't want to wrap its mind around, or okay, bad pun, especially given this book. Anyway, I couldn't get invested in this story, and I don't know if it's because I really couldn't connect with the main character, or if it just happened so quickly my brain didn't process it, but I gave this like a 3.5. Definitely not my favorite sci-fi horror I've ever read, and I will likely end up unhauling this. So I don't know what I'm going to read next. I have a couple of things on my mind, and I'm still not really in the romantasy mood. Up next is supposed to be Onyx Storm, and with that I could kind of double up, because my next book is a hot pick, so something that is getting a lot of buzz and conflict that intrigues me. So I could combine the two and just read Quicksilver, because that's a thing that you can do in this readathon. You can combine 2 of the levels and escape that way. So I think I'm still going to put Onyx Storm on the back burner and start Quicksilver, just because it's something new and hopefully my brain will accept the newness of it. And I only have this on audio, so we're again kind of betraying the physical TBR, but I think that's what I'm going to do. Combine Hot Pick and Conflict that intrigues me and read Quicksilver. That way I'm not so frustrated by Onyx Storm. Here's the thing. I think I am on the verge of hitting a reading slump. And I say that because whenever I start to not want to read a certain genre, I'm burning out. And when I start to burn out on one thing, it's not hard for other things to follow. I don't know if I said this. I'm also very tired. My day's been kind of long. Oh, so let's just move on to Quicksilver and see if we can bust through the rest of this list. All right, we have escaped the next 2 levels of hell. And let me say, I loved Quicksilver. Absolutely loved it. I am not big on book talk recommendations. They have a tendency to be a little less than what I'm looking for and more smutty, but I am pleasantly surprised because we have this girl who is struggling to survive, doing everything she can to survive, stealing, being a little shady, and she gets this great opportunity to steal a gauntlet from a high-ranking soldier and takes it. Almost gets away with it, doesn't quite. And then she comes face to face with death because she opened the realm to the Fae. And I loved this from the very beginning to the very end. Kingfisher is such a great character, very morally gray, has a potty mouth. He is very much a shadow daddy, and I go back and forth on shadow daddies because either they are like stereotypical Kylo Ren type characters, or it's just not enough. And the best example I could give of the just not enough of a shadow daddy would be the guy from, I believe it's Slaying the Shadow Prince. I will put the image of the book over here. It didn't go there like I would like for it to. He was very much a cinnamon roll, and I like my shadow daddies to be a little bit more morally gray. And I mean, I really enjoyed Quicksilver though. I loved it. It was a little long-winded, so I gave it 4.5 instead of 5 stars. She could have trimmed the fat just a little bit and it would have been a 5-star read for me, but I highly recommend this audiobook though. If you are going to read this in any format, I would recommend the audio. His voice, so great, so great. I need to look up who the narrator is for Kingfisher because so good. And this is also one that I think you need to go in with a little bit of caution if you are not a fan of grumpy, snarky female main characters, because our FMC, I believe her name is Cerise, is very much an angry girl. She's mad at the world. She's mad at everybody. And if you don't like that type of character, she can be crass, coarse, a little hard to like latch onto, but I loved it. As you guys know, 2 of my favorite characters, we have Mia from Nevernight and we have Millie from No Land for Heroes. Both of them are hardened characters. They are hardened over time and due to trauma, and our main character in Quicksilver is no different. So if I had to give my top 3, we're gonna say Mia and Millie are kind of tied, but Cerise is not far behind them. And so, and I'm just bad with names. Don't let me not remembering her name throw you. I am just really, really bad with names. And Kingfisher, I only remember because what a weird name. But Quicksilver was such a hit. Am I going to escape hell for this readathon? I do not know. In going with what I have lined up, Lightfall will be the first book that I read for the next vlog. I have Lightfall, So Thirsty, and then we can continue on with Jante's Inferno, but I'm very excited. Also, I did want to kind of say something here. There's a reason that this is going up a little late. There's a reason I didn't post my Wednesday video. If you guys have seen, a video went viral this last week, and it kind of impacted me and my mental health because I chose to watch it. I think that when tragedy strikes, it is very important for us to not look away. And so I watched it, but that did put me on a mental spiral myself because this is something I have been through. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I will link the video down below. But I had a bad mental headspace for a couple of days, which made reading Quicksilver turn into a 3-day read instead of a 1-day read, which I thought it was going to be. And then I finished Quicksilver and didn't start Lightfall because my mental headspace is already careening towards the negative because we're hitting my PMDD wall. And then I chose to watch that video. Like I said, I don't think tragedy is anything that we should look away from, but I also set myself up for failure a little bit in watching that. However, we are moving on. I do think that my PMDD might affect the rest of this readathon. Also, my nieces are here, and so I don't know how much reading I will get done today. We will see. We will see. You guys will probably see me in this same outfit at the beginning of the next video because I don't have a lot of plans. It's icy outside, and it's only supposed to get worse. And I know that we're going to lunch with my mom tomorrow. That's about it. But I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.